ended up leaving him because I found out he was a serial cheater. And not only that, but one of my friends showed me that after meeting her at a gathering I was at, that he'd started to DM her and flirt with her.
What an idiot.
Do you think friends aren't going to share that with each other?
And even if I'm not friends with a girl, if I notice a dude liking my stories or whatever, I block him. We stick together now. You guys can't put us against each other anymore.
After I left him, he texted me to tell me that all of my stuff would be left in boxes on the street and that I wasn't even that hot to begin with.
Oh my God.
Welcome back to Delve Deck Stories. Today we are reading some stories about people being petty. Our first story is from Amelia, and it's "What's the pettiest thing you've ever done?" from the Deep Dive Beach Ball. I put dog poop in my brother's backpack.
Can't wait to hear why.
My brother is 7 years older than me and would always tease me growing up. Sometimes it was typical older sibling stuff, but sometimes he was downright mean, especially when he was in high school, which he has now agreed was pretty messed up since I was just a little kid. Well, one day my parents were out for the night and my brother was babysitting me. I was watching Lizzie McGuire, but my brother wanted to watch Jackass. I told him I was watching first, but before I could finish the sentence, I was pinned down to the ground. My brother sat on top of me and watched Jackass while I screamed for him to let me go for the next hour. I was furious, but he was bigger than me, so there was nothing I could do.
And her parents were gone, she said?
Yeah, he was like babysitting.
That is so... I would kill him.
That's also such an older sibling move. I have done that so many times to my younger brother. I'd be like, "Yep, I'm sitting on you. You can't go anywhere.
On top of you, you can't move." Yeah.
I just get claustrophobic, fully,
it's
and
I
panic.
It's definitely mean. Listen, older siblings, we've all done things that you look back on and you're like, "Oh, that was messed
You're like, you just got to work through this, guys."
I'm like, sorry, I was also a child?
I don't know. I was a middle child, so I was like, let's just keep the peace. Except for when you cross me!
That night, I was so mad that I couldn't sleep. Then I devised a plan. I went into our backyard and got some of our dog's poop. Then I went into the living room where my brother had left his backpack and mashed it all into the bottom. I placed his books and binder on top, zipped the thing up, and went back to bed.
Just really just set it in there and ferment,
She's like, this is for me not seeing Paolo sing. This is for... No, that's great. I thought it was just going to be a bag of poop in there, which is still nasty, but that is next level. That is...
Yeah.
I don't know if I can be on her side after that. That's so bad.
The next day, he took his backpack to school without realizing. Apparently, it wasn't until he opened his backpack in first period to get some books out that the smell hit him and everyone else in the class. He freaked out, but the damage was done. My brother wasn't cool enough to avoid ridicule, and he was teased by his class for the next week for his poopy bag. It's one of my proudest revenge memories, and luckily we can laugh about it today.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I feel like, that's especially if you end up with a good relationship with your sibling.
Yeah.
He was like...
Remember that one time I put dog poop in your bag and just smooshed it in there?
Oh,
just really waffled it in.
It was the gift that kept on giving because he was made fun of.
Yeah.
So, lesson learned.
Our next story is from Anonymous, and it's "What's the pettiest thing you've ever done?" from the Deep Dive Beach Ball. My ex was a nightmare, so I tried to put him in one.
I'm into it. Immediately, I'm on her side, his side, whoever side it is.
I was dating this guy that completely love-bombed me. I fell for it, obviously, and then became a literal monster 6 months into the relationship. Because I'd had 6 good months with him before, I stayed for another year thinking that maybe he was just going through something and he would come around and change for the better when the time was right. A year... No, that's too long.
That's too long. That is twice as long as the good times you might have had.
Once you've
If you hit even a month, I feel like, of dissonance and you guys can't communicate at all.
And you've only been together for 6 months.
Yeah.
Baby, save yourself.
Well, I ended up leaving him because I found out he was a serial cheater. Oh. And not only that, but one of my friends showed me that after meeting her at a gathering I was at, that he'd started to DM her and flirt with her.
What an idiot.
Do you think friends aren't going to share that with each other?
Yeah. And even if I'm not friends with a girl, if I notice a dude liking my stories or whatever, I block him. I'm like, you don't think they would know?
Yeah.
We stick together now. You guys can't put us against each other anymore.
After I left him, he texted me to tell me that all of my stuff would be left in boxes on the street and that I wasn't even that hot to begin with.
Oh my God.
You're not even a 10.
Calm down.
I didn't even want to go out with you.
I didn't even want to go out with you anyway, you ugly bitch. That's why I just used you for a year and a half. I hate him.
So I felt rage unlike anything I'd ever known before and blocked him. I was going over all the options for making him miserable. Glitter bombs, egging his house, signing him up for spam texts, and nothing seemed adequate until I saw an ad from the Army encouraging people to sign up.
Nice.
So, nearly without hesitation, I clicked on the link, gave them my ex's full name and social security number. Oh, did I mention he had me save and hold all his documents when we were together, so I knew all this information? That's insane to do. What, you've dated for a year and a half and you're making someone hold your documents?
Yeah.
I've been with my partner for 7 years. I don't know his social security number.
No, but maybe she had one of those divine intervention moments where she was like, you're going to need this. And she was like, you're right. I'm going to need this one day. And maybe she was thinking it was a hospital situation, so she memorized it.
Yeah.
You know?
And I signed his ass up for the military. I don't know if this is legal or not, so I will be remaining anonymous.
I mean, that's definitely fraud. But identity theft, really?
Yeah. But a few months after I signed him up, I got a text from an unfamiliar number saying that it was him and that he was going away for a while. He said somehow he got signed up for the military and that he's been having a real reflective period where he takes a deeper look at himself. So maybe this was a sign from God. That's insane. This man is insane. If the military contacted me and was like, you signed up, I'd be like, Nah,
I have flat feet.
I
don't want that.
I didn't. Wasn't actually, me, bro. I'm not coming. Anyway, he's still enlisted, and I think my petty act might have actually straightened him out. So all's well that ends well, I guess.
Yeah,
maybe.
And then he died in combat.
Our next story is from Carmel's a Cat. And it's, what's the pettiest thing you've ever done from the Deep Dive Beach Ball? I hate my MAGA dad, so I've been poisoning him. My parents got divorced a few years ago, and their political differences were part of it. They were both Republicans when they got married, but my mom really changed ideology due to Trump, and my dad doubled down.
Ugh. Typical.
Mom ended up voting for Biden in 2020, and they split up about a year later. I am so proud of her. Since they got divorced, my mom has had primary custody, but my dad has visitation rights, and I have to spend 2 weekends with him every month, which I am increasingly resentful about. When he voted for Trump again in 2024, we had a huge argument and got in a screaming match, and I told him I hate him and never want to see him again.
I don't think she stuttered either.
He totally ignores how pissed off I am and tells me I will get over it and still makes me visit him. I have given up on trying to reason with him and now just speak to him as little as possible when he forces me to visit. He keeps trying to win me over with gifts, but I refuse them and have told him the only way he will win me over is to stop supporting Trump. A couple months ago, I got the idea to start putting milk into his Lactaid.
Nice.
Okay, I was worried it was going to be like Visine in his water bottle, so this is a relief.
So basically, he's going to potentially
himself
of dehydration. If he keeps eating himself, it's a lot of fluid is lost through it. Like when you get diarrhea and stuff, like that's why people get dehydrated.
My dad is lactose intolerant and buys lactose-free milk. So every time I go to his house, I ruin his Lactaid by pouring real milk in there.
Wait, hold on. Does that mean his dad is a soy boy, doesn't drink milk, has to have soy milk.
I
I'm
mean,
just saying, like,
it's lactose free.
We're more similar to the other side than they think sometimes.
I'm just saying, like,
So you care about animals?
Wow, sounds vegan to me.
Sounds really liberal leaning.
Now he spends an unusual amount of time on the toilet and cannot figure it out. I have been laughing my ass off about it, but can't tell anyone what I've been up to, or I'd probably get in a lot of trouble for it. I just feel like, okay, he's not really allergic. You're just giving him the poops. And he's going to be in the bathroom, so you don't have to be around
Yeah,
him.
they voted to give us minor inconveniences that turned major for the next 4 years. I think you can deal with a little extra time on the shitter.
Yeah.
Since you're putting us into a hole.
I turn 18 in 2 months, and I cannot wait to never see him again after that. He thinks I will mature and realize our political disagreements aren't important, but he can die alone in a nursing home. He chose Trump over his only child. He can rot.
it's also like these Trump supporting parents, or sorry, these parents who are Trump supporters. They're always like, oh, whatever, it's just 4 years. It's like, yeah, well, a lot can be done. I mean, let's look at this. The time that we're filming this, it's May. We've had 4 months of this guy in office, and a lot has been destroyed. People have been laid off. Programs, regulations, protections, things like that are like making sure that we are able to exist. FDA, the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, like all these things. And I hear people are like, whatever, it's just 4 years. You're still young. It's like, well, who's to say that I will still have a future that'll be healthy and I can live in?
No,
You
we're
know?
cooked. We're cooked.
Yeah, also, like, you could say the same thing back to them. Like, okay,
Right.
you just had 4 years of Biden. I guess it wasn't that big of a deal, huh?
Yeah.
And according to them, it was the worst thing ever, so guess
Right.
what? Our next story is from Dana. It's, what's the pettiest thing you've ever done, from the Deep Dive Beach Ball? I took back the improvements I made to my rental.
Well, duh.
Yeah.
No, because any landlord would be like, oh, okay, we'll raise the rent by like $3,000 for these.
A few years ago, I rented a pretty rundown little bungalow in a cute neighborhood. The house itself wasn't in great shape, but the area was nice and I figured I could fix it up. The place was in my budget and I thought it could even be fun to spruce it up. All the changes I made to my rental were cosmetic, but it took the place from drab to fab. I used contact paper on the drawers and cabinets in the kitchen and bathroom to make them look newer and more modern, and replaced the ratty, rusty drawer pulls. I covered the dingy-looking walls with some nice peel and stick paper. I also replaced all the lighting fixtures and created little gardens in the front and backyard. I put in flower boxes in the front windows and created a container garden on the back patio to grow veggies and herbs. You are very handy.
You are a witch.
Yeah, come do mine next.
Me next.
The place looked a zillion times nicer after I worked on it. Nothing I changed would be permanent, and I kept all the old fixtures in case the owner complained about any of it. When it came time to renew the lease, my landlord did a walkthrough to see the condition of the property, and I could tell he was really impressed with how much nicer it looked. He started taking photos and commenting on how great everything looked. He was supposed to be coming over with a new lease, but after the walkthrough, he told me he actually didn't have it ready and would email it in a few days. A few days later, the landlord emailed me a lease charging almost double the existing rent.
I told you. I literally called it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's shitty.
She did the improvements herself.
Also,
You can't do that.
Yeah,
Illegal.
Is this illegal?
Yeah. It is illegal. It is price gouging, and I think there's only a certain percentage that you can go. I mean, like, well, also, if you're renewing a lease every year, there's a fixed percentage that the county says that you can raise the rent on. But anyone who's like, oh, double the rent, like, it's like,
You can't do that.
No. Because he claimed the value of the place had gone up a lot since I moved in. I wonder why. The value had gone up because of the improvements I made. It had nothing to do with anything else changing. I was so pissed. I emailed him back and told him there was no way I could afford to pay that much more, and that if he couldn't offer a more affordable increase, I'd be moving out.
Mm-hmm.
He told me there was nothing he could do for me.
Oh, give me a break.
I'm just the guy who makes the lease. I can't do anything about it.
I want to
Yeah.
tie this person down on train tracks and say, there's nothing I can do.
Nothing I can do about it. So I went ahead and found a new place.
Mm-hmm.
When I moved out, I made sure to return the bungalow in its original condition, as the lease stipulated.
Love.
Nice.
Did she get it?
I took out every single improvement. I took my container garden, my flower boxes, my light fixtures, everything. I returned the place looking as shoddy as it was when I rented it. I left it clean so he'd have to return my security deposit, and thank goodness I took photos when I moved in and emailed them to document the original condition so he'd have no room to complain that he got back exactly what he gave me. I moved to my new place and mailed the landlord his keys and told him to return my security deposit within 30 days. I had a sneaking suspicion the landlord had used the photos he took on that walkthrough
To list the property.
to advertise the house for rent, so I looked it up on Zillow and sure enough found the photos of the house with all my improvements and saw he was marketing the house as updated and fashionable.
I can't
I
wait for
mean,
him to find out.
Yeah.
Now, I can't wait for people to show up and be like, "Whoa, where's all
You
the stuff in the
lied.
photos?"
Dude, I had that. I was touring an apartment recently, and in the picture, the bathroom was like this beautiful open, like floor plan with a vanity and whatever. And I go to this thing, and they make me wait for 30 minutes to even see the unit. And then I walk in, and I'm like, "This bathroom is not the one that was in the picture." And they go, "Oh, was it this bathroom?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Oh, yeah, that's one of the downstairs models." And I was like, "Why would you And I said, "Is it open?" And they were like, "No, it's occupied." I was like, "Why would you blatantly use?"
I hate when they do that. They're like, oh, these pictures may not reflect the unit that you're going through.
I'm
It's
like, but there's a very big difference between a literal. Anyway.
yeah.
Boo!
I laughed to myself, thinking he was in for a surprise when he went back over there and found his stupid house in the exact condition he had it in before. A few days after the landlord got his keys back, he sent me an angry email demanding to know what happened to his house and complaining that I ruined it.
Aw.
No, sir.
Oh.
I gave you back what you owned.
So, if anything, he's just admitting to the fact that he had a shitty looking place beforehand.
She can be like, "Oh, yeah, well, I took photos beforehand. I can send you those for the new Zillow link."
I pointed out to him that I returned the house in the same condition it was rented in and that I was required to do so per the terms of the lease. I attached the original email I'd sent on move-in day showing him what the house looked like when I moved in and attached photos from move-out day showing the house looked the same in all the photos. I reminded him that he had to return my deposit within 30 days per state law and laughed some more knowing he was going to have to explain to any potential new tenants why the house looked nothing like the Zillow pictures. I got my deposit back and watched the ex-rentals sit on the market for months and watched the price going down every few weeks. It eventually went off the market, but he ended up having to rent it out for even less than what I was paying when I lived there.
That's so messed up. I would be so mad.
Yeah. That's what he gets for being a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Screw him over. Hopefully your new place is better.
Also, what a shitty landlord to see some peel and stick wallpaper and think that means you can double the price of a place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are you dense?
Yes.
clearly. Our next story is from Lorraine, and it's what's a lesson you learned the hard way from the original deck. Don't tell your petty uncle you didn't use the gift he got you. My uncle has a habit of giving the weirdest gifts that happen to only interest him during some of his hyperfixation periods. Recently, he's been fixated on our lineage and trying to trace our family tree back. He is convinced he will find some line linking us to royal ancestry.
Oh. And you
Yeah,
go
it's
to where
possible.
the royal ancestry is and you say we're actually related and people are going to be like, you poor thing.
Well, I graduated high school last year, and during my graduation party, he rallied everyone's attention and informed them he had a very special gift for me. He handed me a medium-sized box, and once I opened it, I see that he has gifted me an Ancestry DNA test kit. I looked up at him and say, "Thanks, Uncle Heller." And he launches into a 15-minute speech, no kidding, about the importance of our lineage and that he wants everyone to take the test if they can get their own. How many do you need to, like, trace?
I mean,
I think he wants every person individually to track their lineage.
He's like...
But you don't even
he's
need
trying
that.
to
You
find
just need
out
to-
if you're actually his kid. That's what's happening.
I mean, like, you don't even need, at that point, what you need is either your parents or your grandparents.
Yeah, like, just get...
Because you're like,
Our
oh, great, you had the
parents.
kid, the grandparents works fine, because then you're like, all right, grandparents work down to your parents, and then that's how, the breakdown would be, and they work to me. It's like, not everyone has to get it.
Well, a few months have passed, and I haven't done the spit in a tube test yet. I'm packing for college, and I just give the kit away to my mom so she can do it. She's not blood related to Uncle Heller. This will become a problem later. So I go to college, come back home for the holidays, and my uncle is asking me about my DNA results. I told him that I didn't remember to do it before I left and that I gave it to my mom. He looks so disappointed at this and says, "But how will that help me with our lineage? She's not blood related to me."
And then
There's
she
like
goes,
genealogy. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. Go to a genealogy library. Okay. And I just fake a reason to leave the conversation, honestly assuming he would have found a new hyperfixation by now. Well, it's my birthday. I'm having a party back home because it's summer break, and Uncle Heller comes. During the gift opening portion, he announces, "I didn't get her anything since I never know if it'll actually be of use to you."
No.
Give me a
no.
break.
He's just mad because he's selfish.
Yeah.
He was using her
Yeah,
to get
it's not like a
information
real
for
gift.
himself. That's what it was.
But my present this year is a story before he delves into another story of our family lineage.
Like, bore me to sleep.
I mean, if it's like a good story, maybe. But
Yeah,
if it's
but if
just
you're
like,
telling
and
me
then
about-
they came over on the Mayflower, and then they bought a house.
And then he married this 14-year-old, and they popped out
Some
15
weird-
children. And then,
Before she was 20.
yeah.
You'd think he'd get it out of his system by now, but still every family gathering, holiday or birthday, he is reminding me that I gave away a gift he gave me. And always implies that I wasn't appreciative enough and that I need to learn the value of gifts because they aren't required. Well, I've had enough of it, so I bought one of those stupid kits to give back to him, and I can't wait to see the look on his face when he opens a Russian nesting doll box situation, only to find the coveted DNA test that says who it's from, with the added note to give it back to me so we can put this grudge to rest. Perhaps he's petty, but I'm finishing it with an even pettier move. Take that, Uncle Heller.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of it just being boxes within boxes within boxes within boxes.
With a printout screenshot that says maybe a little bit Scandinavian.
Yeah. Not even the percents. It's like, this is the vibe.
Yeah. We're kind
You're
of
giving me
feeling,
like Swedish vibes.
Yeah.
Like,
Our final story is from Stan, and it's, "What's the pettiest thing you've ever done?" from the Deep Dive Beach Ball. I rearranged my coworker's office to piss him off. I used to be a janitor at a doctor's office, so as you can probably imagine, I've seen some shit. Most of the staff were incredibly kind, but there was this one doctor who was always rude to me. He'd always yell at me for things like moving the trash can next to his desk a few inches. Apparently, he could tell if it wasn't perfectly placed, and moving it himself was out of the question. He'd call me in, berate me, and then watch me move it 2 inches to the right. I hated this guy.
It feels like harassment.
Yeah.
he says, I wonder what I'm going to bitch about today.
Yeah, he's like, whose day can I ruin? Doctors are known for having an ego, but this guy took it to another level. I know that I didn't have to go to medical school to be a janitor, but I kept the office clean and it wasn't easy work. Then one day he came and found me on my lunch break and was like, "I need to show you something." I was thinking, great, what is it now? But said, okay, and followed him to his office. "See what's wrong here?" he asked. No. He starts waving his hands wildly over his desk as if that was supposed to tell me something.
Tell me what's wrong with this picture. And unless I'm doing one of those, like, spot the difference games, I don't know. Okay?
I could not tell you. How about you tell me?
Yeah.
Which we have in our adult workbooks. You can get yours at boardwalk.com.
Hey.
I said I wasn't sure what he was trying to show me, and he started yelling at me that I must be a fucking idiot and called me all sorts of horrible names. Apparently, his red pen had been moved from his drawer and was now sitting on top of his desk. I was like, okay, and he starts yelling that I must be going through his things. I told him that I barely have time to clean everything that needs to be cleaned, let alone go through whatever boring shit he had in his desk, but he refused to believe me. This abuse continued for the rest of my time working there, so on my last day, I decided to fuck with him. I was doing my rounds and decided to save his office for last. I moved every single piece of furniture in his office. Not a single pen was put back in its special spot. Then I clocked out and said good riddance to that piece of shit. I heard from one of my friends that he lost his mind the next morning. If only I could have been a fly on the wall when he walked in and seen what I had done.
When I used to get mad at my parents, I would go to the mantle and I would slowly just adjust and move things. So it was like I knew it would make people uncomfortable, but they didn't know why.
Yeah. A college buddy of ours, we took his shoes and then we mailed it back to him. I mean, within the campus mailing, but it would for a few days.
Oh my God.
For a few days, it would leave. And then he would get a package slip that was like, hey, you got a package. And whenever you get a package, I'd be like, oh, hell yeah, I got a package.
It's your shoe.
And then it would be the other shoe that he was missing.
He's waiting for the other shoe to drop.
That's it for Delve Deck Stories. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, you can like, subscribe, and check out some of our other videos. And if you have a fun story you'd like to share, you can go to share.delvedeck.com and we might read it on an episode.